Hello, let's see if this works. There we go. I'm gonna assume that we can hear everything. This is funny because I haven't streamed now in like almost a year, somewhere around there. So I forgot to officially check to see if I hear myself and all. Yes, I do. All right, so we're good. Rock solid. Okay. Cool Bansky Doodles, Briv. All right. So, hello and welcome. Oh man, it's crazy how you can just sit there and think about 9 years, and some people they're gonna automatically gonna be like, yeah, okay, that's a long, long time. Other people are gonna be like, that's not very long. But 9 years is obviously 1 year short of a decade, as we all know. And a decade, this is gonna put in perspective how wild this is. A decade is, of course, 1/10 of a whole goddamn century. And obviously 25 years is a quarter of a century. So it's actually a fuckload of time, 9 years. It's wild. In fact, technically, in like 2 weeks, I'm going to turn 30, meaning that I've actually been doing this for damn near a third of my entire life. I just thought of that is absolutely fucking insane. Like, think about that. What the fuck? I've been doing this. I've had the Criminal Violin going almost 1,200 goddamn videos, technically including streams, although in the grand scheme, that's very few. I don't even think I've streamed 100 times yet. That's a stupidly long time. So it's fucking wild, wacky, and crazy. But hey, it's 9 years, man. And I don't know why, but today specifically, I feel like the most almost excited and jovial about this that I think I ever have. And I think it was last year, it might have been the year before. I think it was the year before actually. I did a stream like this and I also did a video on basically kind of reminiscing memory lane strolling celebration of, yeah, it was 2 years ago because it was 7 years. Skipped out last year. This year we're doing it again. And it's just crazy. And 440 subscribers for 1,200 videos and 9 years is basically nothing. Obviously, I think we all know that. But at this point, I mean, if you've been going for 9 years, you keep up with it, no matter the growth or lack thereof on your channel. I think that says a lot to a creator, whether it's me or anybody else, that they don't, like, that's not the most important thing to them. They don't really care about feeding the algorithm or kissing the feet and the ass of viewers or anything like that to give them everything that they demand. It's really more about just enjoying themselves, expressing themselves, having an outlet to commentate or to review or to just output. And it ultimately, therefore, also views wise, clearly, it's not going to matter. To a lot of people, especially viewers and average mindset people on YouTube, they give a fuck. And this is viewers' average mindset, they give a fuck. That's why a lot of times they'll try to use it to diminish and demean a creator because they're like, oh, you've been on here for 8-9 years. Where's your fucking views, dude? And it's like, in a way, technically, you'd think they'd actually look at that and be like, actually, that's proof that they clearly don't really care about the views, because the fact that if they did have such an importance on views, then, well, guess what? They would have stopped a long time ago, just like with the whole subscriber thing. If you're worried about subscribers, it's the same thing. They would have stopped a long, long time ago. They would have given up because it would have been disempowering. It would have been something that demotivated them, and they just give up because it's like, well, I'm not going to waste my years away doing something that doesn't give me fruition in what my goals are. For me, and just like a lot of other creators in my position, we keep doing this because it's an outlet and we enjoy doing it. And for me personally, I've always done this because, especially the commentaries, I had done them off and on because of the fact it was a great way for me to outlet and to express myself. And I didn't care about views. I didn't care about if anybody agreed or not agreed, or if anybody saw it or didn't. That wasn't the point. I just wanted it as an outlet. And it's more of a bonus if people see it, and especially if they get any kind of value out of it. Hell, you could hate and despise everything I say and think I'm the biggest idiot in the world and actually hate all my content, my personality, and everything else. In a way, technically, that's value because of the fact that it's negative value, but it's still value because it shows you that you're wasting your time on me and my content because you don't like me, you don't like it, so why the fuck would you watch? Why torture yourself? It's like the best tool kind of in general in life to be able to determine what you're going to give your energy and your time to, right? So in a way, it's actually a really good recipe for, I guess, striking a balance in your life. So again, you've always had that freedom to just be able to just say, you know what, I don't like this shit. Fuck this person. I'm never going to watch this channel again. And you have the ability to do that. It seems like a lot of people on YouTube have the mentality that they don't think they can do that for some God knows what reasons. But it's just interesting to note. And so, yeah, to think that 9 years ago I started, and I started without a microphone in Roblox of all things, which just sounds so weird to say. It still does. Like, I don't regret it by any means. It's not a negative kind of weird. It's just a weird in terms of almost an awkward kind of weird for me to look back and know that I started with Roblox of all things. And I did that because it was completely free at that point. They don't even think they had any Robux existing at that point in time. It's 2015, early 2015. So I don't think they even were big enough to even consider that yet. So I mean, this is far enough back that like I don't even think Robux existed. So it was literally entirely free to play. There was not pay to play or pay to win aspects like they have now. That EA definitely pioneered, and unfortunately, but and they had an in-game recorder. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll start with that. That makes it so easy for me because, you know, I didn't have an income at the time. I didn't have any money. So I already spent all my money on my computer, my pre-built PC, which was absolute shit. It's so funny too, because when I first bought that PC, I went in with the mentality that you didn't need a gaming PC because I knew that all these experienced people on YouTube that did gaming were always telling you you need to build your own PC. Like you need a proper gaming specific setup if you're gonna do gaming YouTube and streams and stuff like that. And see, I personally didn't buy that because I always felt it was a gimmick. And to this day, I'm like totally chill with that because I'm like, that made total sense to me. It still makes sense to me to assume that kind of shit to be a gimmick, like gimmicks that these people already fell for. So I was like, that's got to be a gimmick. I don't buy that. I really don't, because those are so much more expensive. It just feels like a money grab gimmick. So I'm going to trust myself that it's a gimmick and I'm going to buy this pre-built PC. And to me at the time, it looked like it was plenty powerful enough and all that. Turns out it wasn't. In fact, it also was technically misadvertised by, I believe, Office Depot. It was either Office Max or Office Depot because I don't think they were together at that point. Maybe they were. I don't know. But either way, it was a Black Friday sale, I think. And so I got it for like $750, I think. And I had that PC for the bulk load of the years I've been doing this, actually. I think it was 2020, maybe it was 2019. I think it was Christmas 2020. And so beginning of 2021, I think, is when I officially got the current PC I have that was built. That can handle obviously games way better than it did in the beginning. The beginning, I mean, sometimes it could even lag with Minecraft, which is vanilla Minecraft, which kind of says a lot. Like it wasn't bad. It was plenty good enough to be able to record shit and have fun and not really, for me, not really notice it too much. But again, when that's your baseline, right, it says a lot. So this PC, I'm very thankful for because it's way better. It's still incredibly lacking compared to most PCs out there that people do this kind of stuff, but it's all good. So that's another change too. That was huge. That the mentality was just make do with what you got. Make it work. Because the idea is to just have fun. So that's all that really mattered to me at that moment. Eventually got frustrating, obviously, but we're here now. Yeah, to think you start with Roblox and then as one of your latest videos, you have something like this. This is something I had never done anything like before in my life. I have never, tirelessly this channel, you'll never see a single video like this. This is one of a kind. And probably, kind of hopefully will be remaining the only one that's like it. But it just felt important to make because, again, like this is a literal statement. This is not like a clickbait type of thing. I mean, I feel like anybody, even if you haven't experienced death before, could probably tell this dude's dead, right? So that, and of course it's local, and it just feels really personal to me in a way. So I was like, I really wanted to review that body cam and you know, commentate on it and give my kind of point of view on it. But yeah, just like thinking, you start with Roblox with no audio, or well, rather, sorry, no microphone, no commentary, in-game recorder, to all of a sudden this. It's so weird, right? I mean, even these, right? This started years later after I had initially started, because it was just initially I was like, I only wanted to do gaming, so that was my main focus, just gaming. Like, I just want a game. PC was shit, so that didn't really allow me to do much outside of the basics. So that lasted a short while. And to think that, like, also I started this channel with the mentality of I want to do multiple videos a day every day, because you know, I saw a lot of other creators that I looked up to that inspired me to doing it. And I thought, there's no way I can't do this. I don't have a life right now. I don't really have any friends. I'm kind of a hermit. I don't really go out. So what the fuck? Why not do this, right? And I know I'd have a blast doing it. So I started with like doing as many videos as I wanted a day. Then eventually I'm like, okay, my goal is going to be 3 videos a day. If it goes down to 2 videos a day occasionally, that's fine. Then I went down to 2 videos a day. And then eventually it was 1 video a day. And then it was 1 every other day. And then it was 1 every 2 days, I think. And then all of a sudden it was just a struggle. Like, I was like realizing how much I despised editing, how time consuming it was, and how tedious it could be. And I hated that so much. I still actually hate editing. Like, I can tolerate it way better, obviously, than I used to. I'm quicker than I used to be. I'm still painfully slow compared to the average person, especially for the length of videos I usually put out. Like, there's no business, I feel like, taking hours and hours straight without a break to edit, only to finally output a 37-minute video or something. It just feels weird, you know? Like, that doesn't seem right, does it? But yeah, editing is not my thing. It's given me this ability to really strongly admire and appreciate the weird, clearly mentally ill people out there who have this masochism complex where they apparently have a passion and genuinely passionately love editing. I'll never understand it. I will never understand it. I genuinely feel like those people must have something off with their heads. Like, they have to have some sort of an illness mentally, because something's not right in their head, because it's definitely a form of masochism. It has to be. And then at the same time, especially if they don't feel any pain from it and they really do just love it and it excites them and everything, I feel like that's just confirmation that they have an illness. But I'm thankful for their mental illness, is what I'm trying to say. It's not cruelty. It's not degrading or insulting. It's a statement of fact, observable fact, from my point of view. Because that's how much I hate editing. So being able to find somebody who loves it is incredible. But obviously, you know, everybody's gonna need and want to be paid, and I'm a long way out from being able to pay somebody to edit for me, which is suckish. So all that time later, that's why I kept going down and down and down, until next thing you know, I kept disappearing without, sometimes with a mention eventually, but usually it was like half the time I updated, half the time I didn't. On disappearing for like random months on end, because the fact that I just was so burnt out and I was so demotivated, because I'm like, I hated editing that much. It was really mainly the editing. And so when you're trying to do, like, you're trying to hold a schedule to yourself, especially when you're somebody who your brain and you don't function well with schedules, because of the fact that it's all like a hard coded, you know, structured thing, and you don't function well with structure like that, things that are hard lined, they're hard set. I was too stubborn for my own good to finally accept that I just can't use a schedule, because it took me until, I think it was last year, to finally say, you know what, fuck this. I am going to just say no expectations on myself. Like, no expectations to record content, no expectations to have a schedule of any kind or upload in specific days. We'll just go with the flow. And I've always been a flow state kind of person. So it took 8 years for me to finally stop being so self-detrimentally stubborn as a creator, and finally let myself just do as I want when I want, rather than schedules, days set for recording or for this or for that. I just like, I'm gonna record what I want, when I want, when I'm motivated, and when I finally get things edited and I'm ready to upload, I'll do that. And then there you go. The only thing schedule I still keep, and I always have tried to keep ever since I implemented that time, which I think was somewhere between 2 and 4 years ago. I started uploading videos at 9:45 a.m. Pacific time every day, and by every day I mean every day I have a video that I upload. I'll schedule it for 9:45 a.m. I don't know why. It was just the time I decided to select at one point, and I just stuck with it. It's just, that's part of the flow state. I just stuck through my flowing through it. I stuck with it, and it's just, it, for some reason in my brain it's like, this feels right, so I just keep releasing videos at that point in time. Which is super interesting. And obviously the background kept changing, because in my first set of videos I ever output, for years actually, up until 2017, right? Yeah. Till 2017, the background had like, it was of my grandma's house, because I was living with my mom and my grandma for 5 years. And so living there, there was like a basket hanging from the ceiling with a bunch of yarns and string and other forms of stuff for like knitting, crocheting, and sewing. You had this old dresser with a bunch of shit on top of that. You had, in the closet, you had a bunch of like fabric and stuff like that for the same reasons. And it was just kind of funny. So let's see, let's see if I if it's the one I'm thinking of. I can't remember what I called it. There was like some stupid skit I just randomly did one day back when I was still living there. Damn it, I want to remember. I guess the skits playlist is going to be the best way to do it, because there's so few skits I've done. Actually, you can see it here too. This is the room, like this right here. Let me do this really quick. 8 years ago, goddamn. Look at all that acne. It's when I can grow hair too. Like, damn. Employee manuals. I still remember that. It's so fucking stupid. That's always been my kind of weird humor. 3 years ago, yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing I always remember fondly, is like the people I recorded with was always really fun. Like Jessie, I Flawless Cow, was always somebody I had a fucking blast with, because she was always just super fucking random herself. Um, Later on, the gaming brick, Brian, which I always spelled brain because I'm dyslexic. So every time I try to type that in for teleports and stuff like that, and Mindplex, I'd always fucking type in brain, and like we'd sit there for like 5 straight minutes before I made my brain ironically made the connection. I spelled brain and not Brian, because it's just, you just you swap the I and the A around. Oh man. And then yeah, Ashley, Ashbashio, Aiden, Fishy, and all that, the different group I played with for a couple of years straight. That was always a blast too. This one I think was with them. I think. Oh no, it was with a different group, right? Yeah. There's some, I can't remember the other people's names weirdly, but Aiden invited me to that group and I played with them for a short period. It's ran by some gal who, some young woman who was starting launching her streaming career on Twitch, She was actually growing really quickly. Their group it was pretty fun. It wasn't as fun as the Ash and them group with Stung Muffin and Musician 101 and all those people. Yeah, there's just so many different people that jeez, look at that quality. That was with the Amazon Kindle I had. That was my first and only tablet I've ever owned, was a Kindle. Jeez. Triggered on headphones died. I can't remember what it actually was that it turned out to be, because it just randomly started working again. I can't remember what the hell fixed it, but something was off. I think it was a Microsoft thing, a Windows feature that turned itself on and it just stopped everything working. Brad's Pointless Videos. It's funny because Brad's Pointless Videos was something that I had recorded, I think, like 2 years, maybe one, prior to when I released it, like a year and a half prior. And the whole concept of Brad's Pointless Videos was that it was the idea to start another channel and just release these super short, stupid, pointless fucking skits just because I felt like it, as Brad, and literally call the channel Brad's Pointless Videos. And it was just the idea of Brad getting these fucking random questions from nobody, actually, in reality, of course. Brad, give me more pointless in your videos. Well, he'll tell you. It's so stupid. I love it. It's funny too because I still love this. It's so stupid and I still love it. I wouldn't mind creating more videos like this just because they're so fucking pointless. It's like being so pointless. For some reason, it just gives me the most chuckle fuckery you could ever have. Just my heart lights up with chuckle fuck syndrome, and I just enjoy myself way too much. This is where the whole stupid carpet thing came from, where it's like carpet, carpe, carpet, and all this stupid shit. Because fucking English is dumb, and I know it's a French word, and so it makes it worse. Like, why? It's so much. I couldn't remember when I started the your mom jokes. I hate how much I love that. It's so stupid. Why? Why? Like it's the stupidest shit. I don't even know why I like it. I hate it so much, just as much as I love it. It's the weirdest thing. Like I feel so painfully uncomfortable with it at the same time I love it. It's the strangest shit. I don't know why I am the way I am. Oh man. Uh Another form of outlet, I suppose. But yeah. But man, there's been so many changes. Like I did Minecraft for the longest time, that was it. And then eventually I decided to say fuck it and I do this like I do the GTA shit. GTA shenanigans. And like the funniest part is again, this is on that old PC. And my PC could not handle it. Like at all. So I had to go with like some of the lowest graphic settings. Yeah, I could only record it in 720, and even then, you can still see all the lag. You can still see the quality issues, the frame rate every time anything happened. Um, but it's especially funny when I'm like just zipping right through the city, because when you're in a fast enough vehicle and you have the yeah, see, here we go, right here. It's funny actually, the Rhino's not fast, so I wonder why all the glitching was happening there with the spawns of the textures in the world and everything. See? That was my PC in a nutshell. Like, it couldn't handle even really lowered graphics. Look how it pops in. So like, you'd be driving, there'd be nothing in front of you, and you'd hit something that wasn't there, and then all of a sudden it would pop in, and you'd be like on a post or a bollard or something. I was like, what the fuck? But I still had a blast. That's why it's fucking 23, right? I did so many different things like that. Um, Funnier yet, there was somebody, I don't know if he's still active on YouTube, but Rhino something or another. He actually had been a subscriber for a while up to that point. But when I started posting these videos, he actually legitimately loved them and enjoyed them, despite this being a thing. Which is like, even to this day, is so unheard of, because everybody's so spoiled rotten with their modern tech. So as a result, like, everybody's so used to seeing what every other content creator does, and they're like, none of this is a problem. Even then, 7 years ago, this was not something you'd see from anybody who did content creation, even small channels. They'd have like high or max level graphics even on GTA, and in online and all this other people and latency, and they'd still be able to record and they were fine. And then you had me with my A12 APU and my, was it 4 or 8 gigs RAM? I think it was 8 gigs of RAM. I'm not 100% sure. DDR2, I think. And just, yeah. I mean, like, I think integrate, yeah, it was into the motherboard was the integrated sound card, so it had the just basic Intel sound card, which really wasn't an audio card at all. I don't know, man. But yeah, and then also back then when I started, I was doing all these weird little things. Like, there was certain little like, it was also the things that, like, I didn't realize until later because I never really paid much attention. It was dominantly people who were under 18 were using all these weird little terms like bebe and I can't remember. There's like all these weird little ways they would say certain words or whatever, and it was quite stupid. And even then I thought it was stupid, but for some reason I found myself enjoying using some of those weird forms of words and everything in the dumbest way. I don't know why. And then I don't even know when it stopped. Like, all of a sudden I just kind of stopped doing that at some point. Um, but yeah, I also like this Hand Me Up skit a lot. It was a more properly done skit. I'm still mad at myself for the fact that I didn't trust my first instinct in how I set up the camera, because when I set up the camera, I set it up with my instincts saying, hey, this is the exact right angle and placement to be able to capture everything and both of you in this skit. And then I suddenly decided to push my brother out. And so he was like mostly out of shot. And I still hate myself for that, because it's like, why do I always have to second guess my fucking first instincts? Like, I know better than to do that, because it's been my entire life, adult life so far, that like, I know, especially with like camera shots, I know my fucking angles, but for some reason I keep second guessing it and I fuck up. I actually did that recently with knowing the right street to get off, exit off onto to visit my grandma down south a ways, and coming back from picking up my car from Eugene. And I like second guess myself, because I've never driven northbound on I-5 before, south of that exact street exit. So as a result, it didn't look familiar. It looks wildly different from the south side, and the ramp is so long. I was like, nope. So then I'm like, I don't trust that. So then I went by, and as soon as I went by, I'm like, I knew better than to second guess myself, and I did it anyway. I still have that habit. It's one of the most irritating things because it fucks so much shit up. But I love this because it shows like I just again you don't need training to be able to do things like fake faint. It's one of the funniest fucking sequences. I actually think I put it on replay at the end of this too. But I landed on his nuts when I did. Yeah, this is it on repeat, I think. Just rigid, sudden stiffen up, freeze your face, so expression change, just fall forward. Dude, it was so funny. So fun. See, this is where I was mocking myself for it. Fucking fight me because I'm like, why? Why did I do that? You see how perfect it was. I nailed the angle first instinct, and then I had to shove him out of frame because I was suddenly second guessing my angles. It's still bloopers. I still have that problem sometimes, or my arms are long. I still remember that so well, man. I love it too because now that I think about it, I don't know if I noticed that before, but that was guest commentary by Fire Truck and Chains. But yeah, I don't know if I noticed that before, but obviously that means that Nathan also improvised his passing out basically. Uh, which is funny because I never really would have expected him to do improv. But that was actually kind of fun because then it allowed me to do that, and that's just natural flow. And I've always been an improv head, so being able to do something like that was really fun. Um, but yeah, and then you have all, of course, the different background changes once we moved to this apartment, me and my mom together, because you know, I've every so often I like to rearrange where my desk is. So now I have it here. I'm still trying to be comfortable with it for longer than like a couple of months because yeah, like this would be the first time that I change it so quickly. Just because there's like not a lot of space for me in my chair between the wall and the desk. Like for an average person, maybe that's good enough, but for me, that's just a tiny fucking apartment, dude. I have to have my bed over here on the ground in the entryway. I have to have the freaking we have the love seat over there, bookshelves, of course, so shelves, plants, TV setup. Like that's all there is for the living room space slash entry area. So 7 years this year of living here, which means legally in the state of Oregon, we can't technically be held liable for like holes in the wall and shit. So yeah, it's just crazy how much like all that shit's changed. And then yeah, again, talking about driving up from Eugene, like that's another huge, just general life change is the fact that I now have a car, um, which is just fucking insane. Like that's a long time in the making. I mean, there's 2 years of this channel right here. Uh, my Trips Reports and Outdoors channel, Tripping Outdoors, that is just like talking every so often mentioning like, yeah, working on getting the car, working on getting the car. And finally 2 years later I had the car. Of course my car keeps having to go into shops. So hopefully after this last trip down to Eugene, it won't have yet another set of problems that it has to take into a shop again. because the little money I've been able to earn from DoorDash has all gone into the car again, and more. Like, I've had to obviously have even more money put into me by family to be able to freaking help pay for the damn car. It's fucking absurd. So hopefully it shows its bulletproof nature as an old Volvo for once soon. But yeah, it's just kind of weird and crazy how that works. And even just the little trips I've been able to do, even with before the car, let alone with the car, is really cool, I think. Um, yeah, man. I've always enjoyed this kind of stuff, and I still do enjoy doing it. Like, even commentaries, I can really enjoy it. Um, the one thing that I will say that's never changed is the mentality of the average YouTube user. The average YouTube user's mentality has been something I've always been annoyed by, because it's actually very unfair to anybody who creates content. Because, oh my god, like, the average YouTube user's mentality matches the algorithm, and which I guess makes sense that you'd expect that to be the case. The algorithm is fucking shit, because the average mentality of the average YouTube user is absolute shit. It's literally the equivalent of, and again, 9 years of this, I very well known at this point. It's equivalent to if you gave a extremely entitled only child that gets really hyper when you give them sugar, and you give them a bunch of fucking candy, and then it feeds their arrogance and their entitlement. It's like, that's the, and their attention deficit, of course. That is the average mindset. It's the most simplistic way to put it, of the average YouTube user. It always has been. Like, there's little to no attention span. You have to, like, grip them in 5 fucking seconds on literally the average, I think, is about 5 seconds. Like, you have to get them in the first 5 seconds, or else fuck you, dude. You fucking suck. Your content's terrible. Why? Because you didn't treat the kid and the kid child entitled attention deficit mind in the way that they demand to be treated and given. Like, they want what they want, and they want it now. And if you don't give it to them now, then they'll basically tell you to fuck off without saying that, It's really annoying. And then, yeah, short form content too. Like, that's the stuff that thrives, is the really short form content. I mean, ironically, look at this: 10,000 views, 2,000 views, 1,000 views. And these are niche topics, like stupidly niche topics. This is an evergreen topic, though, that people from around the world are going to be curious about, of course. But these, I don't even know if these are really considered evergreen. And you might think, okay, well, it's only going to be US people, really, and maybe some Canadians that watch this. Actually, about half of the people who watch this little mini series of mine on the state splitting are actually internationals outside of North America. They're actually from Europe. So it's not as expected there, or I think the average viewer would expect. But it's not an evergreen thing because it's so niche. So it's like, but yet, because it shows, it gives more validity to the claim that it's because it's short form content. In fact, this is the longest one of them, so go figure it has the least amount of views. I think it does. Actually, the other one might, but I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, like, even this got 5 minutes, it got 402 views. There's no logical reason why that should have gotten so many views, and almost all of those came out within the first, like, 2 weeks of it going up. It didn't, yeah, I think like 300 plus of those 402 views came within the first, like, week of it being up, which doesn't make any sense, because topically it's beyond niche. It's like, why does this attract all this attention? Well, the only thing you can really think of is it's probably got to be 5.5 minutes. I mean, technically it's a Steam issue, so maybe that's why, because maybe it's a common enough issue. I don't know. This one makes sense. It's a kind of a semi-evergreen topic. It's funny because it reflects my lack of knowledge for, like, at least half of the years this has been up, what people meant by me being really good at the hard R. I thought it was just because the fact there were certain points and words in there I was using the fucking like Spanish does, because I love doing that. Like, there's a lot of times, because I know it has to be double R for that to happen, the vibration with the tongue on the palate to make that sound with R's in Spanish, but I have the hardest time not doing it even with single R's. Not only because it's fun and it's probably habitual by this point, but yeah. So this is technically evergreen. Will it get many more views than this? Probably not. This one potentially evergreen. Sad because that's a world-class river, and they were just actively poisoning it and saying, no, it's fine because it's made out of beans. But it's literally also poisoning because you're trying to kill a whole species of fish out of this. Multiple species, actually, out of the river system. You're going to try to tell me that, but it's safe. Right. It's only salmonids can't be touched. Right, sure. Are unaffected. You know how that doesn't make a damn bit of sense. I don't know. And then obviously you have this kind of topic, transit. Transit is stupidly niche. City planning, shitty planning is stupidly niche. Geography is actually really niche, but it's not quite as niche as like, transit and city planning like this. Urbanism and stuff like that. It's a really tight, tiny little community for this kind of stuff. So it's just, you're never really going to get very many views. The fact that this got 78 views is wild. I will say though that there has of course been plenty of changes on YouTube as a whole, as a platform, and how this functioned. Like over this 9 years, plenty. Especially in regards to the guidelines and how strict they are with them and everything. And also even copyright claims, right? They got so much more overbearingly and unreasonably strict with the copyright claim systems, to where now there's entire people that dedicate their entire days and weeks and months and years just to making false copyright claims because they know how to game the system. Just all sorts of stupid shit like that. That developed around 2016 to 17. The copyright system in terms of like, music rights and stuff like that. That got way stricter, and that actually got too strict, arguably, as well, because there's even certain musicians that are like, this is too fucking far. Like, this isn't cool to do this kind of shit. And then of course you had the COPPA, the stupid bullshit COPPA crap. That one is like, again, it's always the classic evergreen claim of, oh, it's to protect the kids. It's not to protect the kids. That's your front. It's a fucking fraud, and you know it. It's just for more control and crackdowns to censorship. And people are like, oh, that's part of a conspiracy theory. You can believe that, but it's a form of censorship. It is. You're controlling speech. If you control speech and topics you can speak about and share because somebody might believe it and they don't think that that's correct thing to believe because it's not the collective agreed upon correct factual statements. No, I'm sorry. That's a form of censorship. So that got really bad. And it's funny that it took them that long, actually. It took them until to go hardcore in the censorship thing. So that was really annoying. So like you have well-respected, long-tenured, experienced medical professionals that get banned from fucking YouTube permanently. Others get suspended for a really long time. They get tons of fucking strikes. They get tons of their content forcefully removed. Either you remove it or we remove your channel, basically. John Campbell's a perfect example of that. Why? Because he doesn't toe the line. He doesn't actually say and basically just act as an echo chamber for the AMA and for the CDC and for Fauci and for what do you call it? Again, World Health Organization, so WHO. Like, not the band. Which is sad because like these are medical professionals. They have this long tenured, study, lifelong dedication, study, and work and everything else in this field. But because they don't agree with and don't necessarily, or they question what the mainstream narrative is, they get censored, they get banned, they have to delete their videos, or they have to otherwise they get themselves removed permanently and banned from their system because you didn't say what you were told to say, you didn't follow the script. Like, really? Sorry, that's censorship, that's coercion, that's all that stuff. So that was strong development, especially then, which really irritated me, for obvious reasons, because like, why? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it should be always left up to the individual to choose if it makes sense to them and if they choose to believe something or not, or if they choose to change their mind, or whatever it is, right? it's your choice. You shouldn't be told, no, you can't do this because we don't want to risk you choosing to believe something that we tell you is wrong. Well, who are you to tell me? Are you the Grand Poobah? Are you the only one who knows what's right, truly right? Like, fuck off. Let me make up my own damn mind, you know? Um, Algorithm changes have been a bitch, obviously, because now it's all about short form. It's about shorts, especially because they want to compete with TikTok, which is so stupid. And it's like, just leave it alone. And then obviously you have the monetization strictness and all these other BS, not just from COPPA, but then a bunch of other additions and addendums, and just it keeps getting more weirder and stricter and more obtuse in terms of how they term their uh their guidelines. Like they're it's the classic case of like making it so that everyone reads it and goes, instructions unclear, stuck dick in toaster, send help. Like that's what they've done. They've made it like really fucking weird, vague, contradictory even. It's annoying to have to read through. It's super wordy. Um and it's ultra restrictive. It's really annoying. Um the monetization policies have changed incessantly over the last, especially 5-6 years. They've constantly fucked with that. It's beyond just a tweak or two. They've completely altered and changed it in structure and how it functions and what the criteria are to be met and all these other stupid things, like relentlessly throughout that time. But especially for a period in the middle of that 6-year period, I'd say it was like those middle 3 years were the peak period where they were constantly fucking with it. They still technically are, but now it really is more like just tweaks here and there. Um, I mean, like, there's just so many different changes with the platform as a whole as well. In fact, technically, one of the only positives I can say about the only positive change I can really think of that they've done to the platform this entire time I've been doing YouTube is finally, and this only happened like middle of last year, I think, is give all people the rights and the ability to have a communities tab on their page. Because they had I can't remember what the tab was called before. I don't think it was updates. I can't remember what the fuck it was called. It was something else. And so that's where I would like try to keep updates. Then they removed that, and that was gone for like a year or two. And so I had no way to update people directly on my channels, which is fucking irritating because it's like, where do people, like, especially as a creator, let alone as a user actually and a consumer of content, where would I want to go to a channel to look for updates on if they disappear for a while or something, right? It's going to be the community tab. It's going to be something like this because that's clearly literally what this is for. But they had taken away this whole thing so long ago from people until you hit a certain milestone and monetization. So it's not just, reaching the goals to be able to then monetize. You also had to be monetized in order to do it. You had to be a partner. So you had to make the money before they give you this reward. I think it was like 1,000 subscribers. And then, or no, actually, no, sorry, it was 10,000 subscribers. And then you had the rights open up to be able to use the communities tab, which is like really fucking stupid. It's, incentives to technically make them money, bring them more traffic. And so they put the fucking communities tabs, the only real form of direct communication with you guys on our channels as creators, for fucking real. Like, they put that behind a fucking, technically in a way, kind of like a meritocratic wall, kind of equivalent to a paywall. Just instead, you have to meet this merit-based system of like, well, you have to do this for us before we'll do it for you. Like, they put so many things behind prison bars just to try to get you to basically, what do you else? Obey their algorithm so that you fed them exactly what they demanded from you as a creator via their algorithm. And it still is very insistent. Like, they do not want to promote anything outside of that main algorithmically obedient content and creation, which is really annoying and stupid. Of course, even if the algorithm wasn't matched the average YouTube user's mentality and way they use it, which is only shorts because they have like no attention span and they have no tolerance for anything but really non-informational informational content. If they have informational content, whatever, it's just absurd. And this is a placeholder thumbnail. I might leave it on there. I have no fucking idea. It kind of reflects the overall feelings and mood I have about today being, January 17th, being 9 years since I started. But probably a placeholder. But it is it's like one of my only pictures of myself I actually genuinely like and I keep around because actually I use it on almost, I think, all of my social media. This is my main thumbnail because I don't know, I just like it a lot. I think it reflects just my peak of enjoyment of just doing what I love, which is actually being outside, ironically. I know you wouldn't think so. 1,200 videos, 9 years of inside hermitsy, being a fucking crustacean inside of a shell. Going out for food and sustenance. But this is the shit I love. Is just going out and doing adventures and being in nature and going on hikes or camping or road trips with people, just having good times. Like, this is the kind of shit I love. Especially, again, it has to be outdoors though, and I'm at peak. I love that shit. If schooling allowed you to dump off curriculum or pick and choose what pieces of the curriculum you want to continue to study and learn, and then allow you to learn something like this where you stay in earth sciences, because I went into middle school for 2 weeks. I was in Rachel Carson, which is obviously named after a very well-renowned environmentalist, and because it was environmental school, and I loved the life out of the trips we took, which was because my passion is in nature. It's in the outdoors. I still am determined at some point to get to a point where I have enough financial freedom that I can say, fuck the way the system works. I am going to fucking show you how it really should be done. Not merit-based, not experience, not even educational based. It's entirely and strictly passion based. If you have a deep passion for fucking, in this case, wildland restoration, I'm going to fucking bring you on. And it's going to be half company, half nonprofit, right? And our entire thing is to just bring on people who are genuinely passionate about this shit. It doesn't really necessarily matter their age. And if you're genuinely passionate, it's going to fucking show the moment you touch the tools. The moment you go out there, you're in nature, and we start, doing wildland restoration study. And you're going to be one of the world's best they've ever seen at wildland restoration. Why? You have a deep passion for it. It shows. And so, like, that whenever I reach that financial freedom point, like truly financially free, I'm going to start that kind of a half company, half charity type of thing. So that it's half company because they're paid, but it's also half charity because it's really for the earth. It's for charities. It's to help it heal and restore it back to its native state, its native, happy, healthy state, without all these invasive species and all these chemicals and used and stupid fucking Weyerhaeuser deforesting everything and all this other stupid shit. Because right now it's so fucking locked out. Like, it's behind 1,000,000,001 fiery hoops of death, where they guaranteeing, the way this wild restoration works, right, is they are guaranteeing, if you look at the requirements, they have shot themselves in the foot, the dick, and the head, and then tried to act like nothing happened, as they're literally actively dying right now. Because most people that are in forestry and wildland restoration are actually entering elderly age. They're very old. They've been doing this forever, but they can't keep doing it for very much longer. So that's why they're also currently shorthanded, because of the fact that it's their own stupid fucking requirements that guarantee that the only people they'll ever be able to hire are the exact people that are retiring, the exact people that are already hired, that are already working to do wildland restoration, to do forestry. And it's fucking bullshit, because you're not gonna do any worse. In fact, I guarantee you're gonna do infinitely better if all you have is fucking deep, intense passion for doing that. All you're missing is that medium. All you're missing is the tools to be able to apply yourself and do it. That's all anybody misses when they're missing and they have the passion. They're just missing the tools, the ability, the medium to be able to actually do it, apply it, that passion. And so that's one of the things I want to do at that point. And dude, I would fucking love it. Rain, shine, snow, ice, I don't give a fuck. I'm up in the mountains and I'm gonna fucking restore shit. That's my mentality with that. But of course, I also have a deep passion for this shit, right? I have a deep passion for technically urbanism because I have a deep passion for mass transit. I'm a fucking transit whore, goddammit. You know? I really am. I'm a deep transit whore. I fucking love transit so much. That's why this kind of a thing, I'm always, you'll notice how much more animated and impassioned I am when I do videos like this. Because I mean what I fucking say. Because I am genuinely deeply passionate about transit. I am a absolute whore for transit. uh, just not light rail trolley buses. Those can go fucking die in napalm. I wish you could do worse to them, honestly. Different story. Point being, I love transit planning, mass transit, especially buses. I like big bus, and I cannot lie. The other riders can't deny. And I therefore love also city planning and road planning, traffic planning, because they're kind of mutually exclusive things. You can't have one without the other. So same with city development. You can't have one without the other. And that means that overarching category is urbanism, technically. And I have a deep passion for that shit so much, but dominantly the transit aspects and thus the planning around that. So, yeah, again, you know, that's the kind of content eventually that I got to is variety. I mean, you just have a bunch of random shit, right? Like you have commentaries, you have geography, you have concepts. Of course, you continue. I've always had gaming, random vlog from I think February of last year. Yeah, late February. There a little bit of a snowpocalypse thing we had then. It's never a snowpocalypse, but everybody up here acts like it now because almost everybody's a fucking Californian from SoCal specifically, and they don't know what snow is. It's cocaine. That's what it is. They just don't want you to know. It's God's cocaine supply overflowing. That's coming from an atheist. Don't worry, it makes sense if you don't think about it. This, I almost never make skits. You notice my skit playlist, I think, has like maybe 12 at most skits on it. For 9 years. Like, I rarely do skits, but I love it when I do it because it's always improvised on the fly. It's just like, what the fuck ever. So I don't have a script. I don't have a basis or anything. I might have a basic idea. Like in this case, I was going to do RFK. That was it. I wasn't, you know, and of course, you know, again, if it's presidential ad was a professional, or in other words, he said everything that you think he believes. Because most people, especially that are liberal or Democrats, hate him because of the fact they think he's a fucking fraud. Because like, oh, how dare you fucking be anti-vax? He's not even anti-vax. He's you know, he's what I would like to call anti-modern vax because of the fact that they add all these other unnecessary things, adjudicants, chemicals, fucking cells from fetuses of random critters. I'm telling you, man, it's fucking absurd. You know, and I was half inspired to do this because of the fact I thought it would be especially funny doing exactly this, like what it says in the thumbnail and the title, because I knew my brother Mario, who is the one I'm always playing with here in Kevin Plays to Die. um, I've always known he likes to clown and dunk on RFK because he does think he's quite the quack. Like he has the cliche beliefs about what he feels RFK believes and represents. And so that's actually a part of the representation from this. But it was still entirely improvised. Every fucking thing I said literally was in the exact moment it came out of my mouth was coming off from the top of my head. There was no script. It was entirely improvised. And I'm sure half the people will hate this and the other half will love it. And the key thing you got to remember with me is I never try to be super accurate in my impressions. My impressions are always half-hearted. Like I'm not trying to do an accurate thing because I'm not gonna make a fool of myself, but I'm gonna have fun with it because the point is to have fun, not to be accurate. So having just enough to clearly see who you're going for is enough of an impression to me, because then outside of that, then you can kind of make it your own after that. And so that's what I do. I always make these things my own thing. So that's why with my whole Kermit Peterson thing, it became from Jordan Peterson, which it literally started as Jordan Peterson impressions that failed miserably. I'm like, you know what? Because my brother Mario showed me that video that's really famous of putting Kermit from the Muppets, from a Muppets movie, clips of it up on top of Jordan Peterson commentary, just to prove how like intensely similar Kermit's voice and Jordan Peterson's really are. Because you don't think about it, you never think about that. You're not going to make that association unless somebody nudges you that direction. And then if you hear it and you see that video, you're like, holy shit. So I started saying, fuck it. I call it Kermit Peterson because it's kind of halfway between both Kermit and Jordan. And it's also its own thing, of course. So it just became a character of mine where it's this character called Kermit Peterson or Kerpete, as a lot of times I call it. My City Skyline series actually that I did this last year, Utopia, was there's a whole fucking historic district in that city called I call it Kerpete. Historic Kerpete. Utopia, yeah. Um which I thought was fun to do. But yeah, so let's see. What one would that have been? I think I actually called it Historic Kerpete. Historic Kerpete, didn't I? That's the university. Oh yeah, it's right here. Building a historic township in City Skyline. So this is the one that this is Kerpete that I was building actively. Yeah. Man, it's interesting to look at all this and even look back in general because it's so weird, the things like how much variety and the shit I did. And yeah, and one thing that's never changed is I've never been able to complete a fucking game, a whole playthrough of a game ever on my channel. 9 years and I still haven't been able to pull it off because I am so close to finishing Uncharted 4. And I think this is the last episode I released of it. I'm pretty sure. Yep. And I was so close to finishing the game. So I need to kick myself to get back to doing that again. Oh yeah, and then also at some point it changed from the typical face cams in the games to like this, right? Where it's just the normal face cam like you see here, except I crop it and editing. It went from that at some point recently to having the round borders and an actual border on it and a shadow, which is really cool. So let's see, where the fuck? Oh, it started here, right here. Comically faded progress, and there it is. That's where you see the change. There's this, and then it became this. So it looks more professional, which I think is cool. And then I think that means that that's probably where I also started by adding the end screen, the more professional end screen to it. It takes me forever to get around to doing anything. So I got those assets for DaVinci. But this is where this blew up. 4.2, and almost all of that was around the same time. It's my most liked video of all time. I'm pretty sure. I actually could be wrong now I think about it, because it could be that other video now I think about it. But the reading the 921 words banned from or blacklisted from YouTube. That was at the time, of course. But this video blew up. I didn't expect it to. And you know, for my channel, 4.2K, especially almost all of that within the first 3 months of releasing it is insane. It's funny too, because Dwayne Johnson actually came back and fucking apologized for it, like repented in a way for this whole fucking People's Fund of Maui concept. He was finally confessing. He's like, yeah, it was probably pretty insulting, and especially when people are struggling the most. You know, like, dude, you have a whole fucking business team behind you. This is the dumbest fucking tail between the legs moment I've ever seen, running away from something you committed to. Like, really? You're gonna act like you didn't know that? You fucking knew. All your business analysts knew. You're not that out of touch. Maybe you are. I doubt it. That was so funny. But the point for me mentioning that is that's when I stopped uploading commentaries to my channel. Well, outside of basketball commentaries, I think. Yeah, because basketball is gonna be fine. Transit's fine on my channel for commentaries because they're specific, and again, that's something I've always been passionate about. So it's like, why not put that kind of stuff up here? So I stopped then because my idea was I still have a bunch of ideas for commentary videos I want to put out that are really cool or kind of investigative or whatever, reviews. I have three for cars actually, which I'm not a car guy, but I'm not gonna lie, like it's really interesting and fun topics to touch on that I don't think very many have and talk about. So those are cool. I have a couple of other commentary video ideas, but I haven't made them. And then when I was about to make one of them, there's another change that YouTube did, and this was this last year again. Actually, maybe yeah, it was like at the very end of last year. They changed the way channels work in terms of your rights as a creator. So if you do not use and or upload on your channel what they consider to be enough, you now have to give Google directly a copy of your government ID, your whole ass fucking identification for them to hold on their fucking servers, which is like one of the most egregious security violations and privacy violations, along with a huge egregious security risk. Like, who the fuck do you think you are when it's a fucking you're just hosting random fucking probably 90% bullshit video content from people, and you really have the audacity to basically banish people and be like, well, you gotta give us your identification, your actual literal identification, or else you can only upload videos up to 10 minutes. Well, one, that's also insulting for another, of course. Two, there's another reason why it's insulting, and it's because of the fact that that's basically their indirect way of trying to push you and encourage you to start obeying their algorithm more. Think about it. If it's restricted to max of 10 minutes, what is that called? Short form. What does the algorithm beg for? Short form. So it's a perfect roundabout way for them to use it as an excuse to try to make you obey their algorithm. In other words, just keep being a content machine and factory. Just pump out random bullshit. As long as you keep pumping out tons of content and you're obeying your algorithm in that sense, alongside of again being short form, we'll no longer require your identification after 2 to 3 months, because we'll consider that enough activity to prove it's you. And now you can have your rights back. But last I checked, genuine quality commentaries, whether they're literally commentaries in terms of rants, rambles, or whatever, which half the time mine are, or if they're actually legitimately like kind of really concise, focused stuff, or maybe a mix of both, either way, no matter which form it is of commentary, that's going to take a long time. That even edited down to the main points straightforward, at least should be probably a solid at least 15 minutes, probably closer to somewhere around 18 to 24 minutes is a healthy, happy minimum that it'd be. 30 is probably that median range, like 30, 35 minutes. Especially if it's an important topic, right? Whether it's just important to you or whatever. Because you want to be detailed, right? Like that's kind of the idea of commentaries usually. You're gonna in dives and reviews and analysis and all that, right? Breakdowns. You want to be detailed enough. So it's gonna be longer than 10 minutes, obviously. So I can't use my commentary channel for fucking commentaries. It's called Rambling Man Dan for a fucking reason. For rambles, right? For drivel. Like, fucking bullshit. So they literally, like, right as I was about to make content to post to that channel, they hit me with that restriction, said you have to send us your identification now, because we won't let you upload videos over 10 minutes if you don't do that. It's literally, I don't know if anybody has experience with content creation that sees this, but when you first start that's interesting that the chat shows somebody here now, but it doesn't show it there. Go by bus, exactly, hobo. I need on my stream deck, I need that button to send that GIF that Alloy sent you. But yeah, yeah, I don't know why YouTube itself, the actual streaming page for YouTube, is not showing a damn thing. Not even the chat page, as I have that popped out autonomously, and it does shows nothing. Like, I had to see it on my phone. What? Anyway, um, good job, YouTube. You suck. Leading in technology company, Google, everybody. I don't know if anybody has experience with content creation on YouTube, but like for the longest time, they had the restrictions for when you first started your channel. And at that point, I'm like, okay, it's fair. Why not? They didn't require ID or anything like that. It was just basically to establish a consistency and a pattern so that, like, okay, so this person is this person because the same voice, same cadence, same kind of topics, whatever, right? So it basically was just only like a little limited time stamp. And then once you had, like, I think it's 3 or 5 uploads, it would lift all those restrictions. And so you could upload as long of videos you want, stream as long as you wanted, whatever. They didn't care at that point. So that was the way it was, and that was fine. But in this case, it's now they also require your ID because you haven't uploaded enough to them. Now they actually require an invasion of privacy. Go figure, a big tech company's going to do that. But it's really frustrating. So now I'm like, now what the fuck am I supposed to do? I guess it kind of forces the commentaries to suddenly come back to this channel if I do commentaries again, which is really annoying, you know? Like, yeah, again, I'm not the kind of creator that is dumb enough or lazy enough to not create specific playlists so that you guys can just go to the playlist tab, or you can use the search bar, as you see, here and here, right? To look up and see, like, okay, what kind of content does this person have? Or I only am subscribed, say an example, or view this person's channel for their commentaries. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe it's a specific kind of commentary. You'll find a playlist that I have designated to those specific topics and or to that specific form of content. Because I am a variety content channel, and I know, again, the basic average mentality of average YouTube user is super picky like that. So it's really concise and categorized on my channel technically. It's not just, here's all the videos and figure out which ones you give a fuck about. And then everybody leaves because everybody wants to only have what they want to see catered to them, and they don't want to see anything else. And then they unsubscribe because they're like, really, they feel bombarded because they don't want to see this other stupid shit. Like, who the fuck cares about gaming? Or, you know? Yeah. So I don't know. But so that's another recent change. So if I do start doing commentaries again, they're gonna probably be forced against my will to end up here because I am not gonna fucking give them my identification card. It's not fucking worth it. And I'm not gonna create random bullshit short form content under 10 minutes just to fulfill their fantasy so they can get an orgasm in or two. Because, oh yes, another obedient little user. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Alphabet. I'm fine. Overlords of Palo Alto, California. Alphabet Inc., otherwise known as Google, otherwise known as YouTube. But yeah. Anyway. So yeah, YouTube's changed a lot, and not for the better, for the worse. And as a whole, my content has quite alternated and changed quite a bit over time too, as you can probably tell. Yeah. So I think I uploaded like 61 videos last year, which is really that was way more than I think the year before. I think. I'm not sure. But there was like there's a handful of years of these 9 years where I uploaded very little. One of those years, actually, I think it was, what would it be? I guess 3 years ago, I think, maybe 4. I uploaded so few videos, but that was actually, at the time, that was my best view year I've ever had. Like, each of the videos I uploaded that year, for some reason, got a lot of views. For me, it got a lot of views, which is crazy. And I also know last year I grew the most I have since I first started, which is really also kind of weird for me. I don't know why. It's really cool though. Like, I'm not going to complain. Again, obviously, if I'm doing this for 9 years and only have 440 of you guys, it's kind of obvious that I don't really give a fuck about how many people subscribe to me. It's just a bonus. But it's still a really cool little bonus to keep seeing you grow, yourself grow. It is. I'm not going to lie. Just like it would be a great little bonus to be able to start making money and monetizing myself online via YouTube and have some passive income from support from people like you guys. It'd be really cool. Obviously, I don't think anybody's going to complain about that for obvious reasons, especially people, again, in my financial position. It's definitely, they'll take anything they can get, and they're definitely going to be thankful for it, and I absolutely would be. I'd be thrilled to the hilt. But at the same time, like I said, it's not necessary, and it's not something I don't give that much of a fuck about. It would just be a bonus. You need to stop using chains. It's not necessary anymore, okay? It vibrates through the fucking floor of this entire apartment building way too much. It also makes you go too slow. Anyway, that's a bus, by the way. Man. Still not frequent service, by the way. 52, despite what Tramit claims, and has claimed multiple times. Still not frequent service. It is 24 hours, though. And they never talked about making it 24 hours, I don't think. And they're forward together, aka better bus plans. But the 52 is running 24 hours now, I've noticed, which is really bizarre. Because they never talked about doing that. But it's definitely running 24 hours. Which is very confusing. Because it's also not frequent service. But that is the one thing they did talk about doing with it. So, don't ask me. But living right off the line, right near a transit center, gives you a really good idea of what's real and what's not when Tramit claims. And yeah. So yeah, 440 now is crazy because start of 2023, I think I had 280 something. I think it was like 283. I think it's either 283 or 290, somewhere in that range. And now I have 440. So last year was actually, that might have been my biggest year of growth in terms of subscribers on my channel ever. And yes, a lot of these I think came in with that People's Fun to Maui video. Ironically, a lot of people subscribed to my channel at that point. Although I say that, I only got just a little over 300 subscribers when I had, I think, 280 something. So maybe it was actually, I think it was maybe over 310 or over 320. And then it kind of stopped. And of course, some of the people who subscribed started unsubscribing because of the communities posts I made and stuff like that. Of like, I'm going to move my commentaries over to this channel. I'm not going to do them here anymore. That kind of stuff. And I do focus mainly on gaming. So you subscribing on this video is probably going to make you wonder, why the heck am I seeing this person? Why am I subscribed to a person who seems to do gaming a lot? It's because my main focus of this channel is gaming. In fact, literally still says games and so much more. So and yeah, so if nobody, through the time I started 9 years ago to date, if those people who subscribed never unsubscribed on this channel or didn't delete their channels or have their channels deleted or whatever else due to inactivity, whatever it might be, I guarantee I would probably have at least 750 subscribers now. I might even be over a million. Sorry, even over 1,000. Yeah, definitely not a million. That would be really wacky. That would be a Matrix episode or a Twilight Zone episode. It would be over 1,000 potentially. I'd be at right now. So still not that much, but in the grand scheme, that's a lot. Which is crazy to think about. But that's because of all the another aspect nobody thinks about with content creation and channels on YouTube is the aspect of it being up and down. Like, you're always gonna lose subscribers and gain subscribers over time. It's inevitable. That's just kind of how time works. So as a result, you might see somebody plateau for a while, and they'll just kind of sit at a certain number of subscribers, no matter what. And then all of a sudden it kind of goes back up again or goes back down again. It's because that's obviously people unsubscribe and subscribe all the time. And so there's this trade-off where it's kind of like up and down, or they kind of start to plateau and they get stuck at a certain spot because of the fact that there's equally as many people subscribing and unsubscribing at the same time. And I've had a lot of people unsubscribe over these 9 years. So not surprising. So yeah. And yeah, I don't know. But another thing, because I didn't mention it, one of the other things that really annoys me about, especially in the gaming field on YouTube, about people, the average YouTube viewer and user mentality, is the fact that they expect at least a video a day. If they do not get a video a day, they get mad and they unsubscribe. Or they might start talking shit about you because it's like, what a slacker. It's like, in other words, it's that childhood entitlement complex kicking in again. It's like, you owe me a video a day. Even if you don't even have a schedule and you literally say that consistently, they will still expect you to give them a video a day. Like they demand it. It's required. If you're a content creator, you at least, it's like the whole autographing thing. If you're a celebrity or a recognized person, like they expect, it's like, no, you have to drop everything, give people autographs and take pictures with them. If you don't do that, you're not only irresponsible, you're arrogant. Like, how dare you not give a fuck about your fans? It's like, that's literally not how logic works. In other words, you're not using your brain. You're just being a dick, an entitled dick. Like, you're actually being the arrogant one, technically. Like, but okay. No, you live to be served. And if we don't serve you what you expect, then, you know, we're apparently the arrogant pricks. How dare us, right? How dare I? Evil, bad person. It's so stupid. Like, they really have this, like, really entitled single child mentality with attention deficit. And it's really irritating. Again, you get used to it. You kind of get numb to it after a while. But if you sit and think with it, again, you will feel a little frustration. Not as intense as I did in the beginning, but it's just, it's sad too, because there's like a lot of content creators out there that are fantastic, but because they aren't obeying the algorithm, or they aren't, you know, posting daily, they don't really grow. And a lot of times they leave because their goal probably is also to grow and to be able to get to a certain level and goal milestones of subscriber counts so that they can increase their monetization and make a job out of it potentially, right? And who wouldn't want to do that? That's really fucking cool. Like, it's better, being your own boss like that is way better than being a fucking bossed around by some middle manager who acts like they're hot shit when actually they're a middle manager, and so their own company doesn't actually give a fuck about them and probably fucks them over daily, but they still want to lick those boots. You know, it's like, who doesn't want to fucking, you know, be your own boss like that? So yeah, there's a lot of trade-offs overall on YouTube and doing content creation, for sure. There's a lot of negatives, mainly via the platform itself and some of the average viewer mentalities, but there's a lot of positives too. And as long as you're doing it because you want to and you enjoy it, and so you're in a way technically kind of doing it more for you than anything like this, like I do, then really the average viewer, you aren't going to give a fuck about anyway. If they don't give a fuck about you, why should you give a fuck about them? Really? I mean, honestly, right? Why worry and why stress about that? So long run, that's kind of the balanced take on it, and that's, you get numb to it really quickly, and you're like, whatever, dude. Like, you're literally no loss to me. In fact, if anything, I see that as a absolute win, as the internet 14-year-olds love to say on every meme that's posted ever by channels. I see this as an absolute win. And, you know, I kind of do. As a content creator, I see it as a win, because, like, I don't need you or want you anyway. Go away. Like, I don't require your viewership, my friend. Go get pissed off at somebody else because they said something you can't agree with. Like, I don't know, whatever. Go get mad at more flat earthers and pizza box earthers, because apparently that's so dangerous that to believe in a flat earth. Where are my trapezoid earthers at, man? God damn it. Because apparently it's the end of the world if you believe that it's not a sphere. Because that totally has such an impact in your life and everyone else's. It's just so damaging. There's so many children that just died as soon as somebody said they believe in a flat earth, you know? People are stupid, man, I swear. But yeah. One more thing, actually, I want to mention before I end this. Because actually, I've been trying to end this now for probably about 25 minutes. But, and I usually, my habit is still in full gear, where I won't shut the fuck up. And I really want to, but I can't seem to do it. There was one thing I wanted to mention going into this, and I haven't done it yet. Which is that one of the other cool big changes, they already mentioned the car and things like that. One of the other cool changes is the fact that, and it's more just the fact that this happened today, is I had my second EMDR appointment. Now, technically the first two are actually for not evaluation, but for basically making a baseline and a plan and seeing, like, what are you going in for this therapy for? What are you looking to get help with? Come up with, like, a treatment plan, so to speak, and all that stuff. and figure out how your mind works and where the where you were at currently and what you've experienced with trauma, and then that way you can figure that out. But I just think it's really cool, and I only noticed this yesterday. That I was like, oh yeah, shit. That's happening. It's a huge step in somebody's life, right? To be able to make steps to try to heal from a lot of shit, triggers and trauma. Um, and you technically are taking a chance and a shot in the dark because you've never experienced it in the EMDR before. You don't know what it's like, so you might as well give it a shot, right? It's better than probably talk therapy, in my opinion. So it's like this huge step you're taking in your life to make a big change and heal from shit and all that. And to think that this is yet another thing that's happening in January of my life, and in this case, the exact same day, I had that second appointment today for that. Is really kind of exciting and cool because I kind of dabble in like spiritual stuff, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, that stuff and feel my way through it and kind of flow and see what hooks to me, what I hook into, what I believe about it and don't believe, or what I feel, just feel my way through it and learn about it and grow with it and everything else, and my spiritual nature and everything. And non-religious, of course. I want to point that out. I am a very proud atheist, agnostic technically, but still non-religious spiritual. Woo-woo, crazy man spiritual. Hippie spiritual, maybe. That's another journey and adventure I'm trying to go on through my life, slowly but surely. And so I feel like this is kind of cool that it's happening on the same day. That I did that second appointment today, and it's also a day that I took another big step in my life, which was to take a shot in the dark and say, fuck it, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try becoming a content creator, and I'm going to try enjoying myself, because I know I do when I do random commentaries and games, because I always have commentated to myself, always, throughout my life, especially as an adult. I comment whether somebody's here or not. I'll think out loud. I'll talk to myself. I'll talk to the air, the floorboards, the walls, the ceiling. Like, I don't care if nobody's there. I'm still talking. I'm still thinking. I'm still coming with ideas. I'm still acting, actually. I improv shit all the fucking time by myself. And especially by myself, because it is a little bit uncomfortable and embarrassing to do it in front of random people, because it's like, okay. And it takes my immersion out of it. I need to get more hard-headed when it comes down to that. So kind of like athletes, except in this case with acting. Like, I need to be more sturdy mentally so that other people around don't disturb me and I don't give a fuck what they think while I'm acting. Because it's like, oh, that's another Portland nut job. Yeah, I encourage you to believe that, because that will probably make you leave me alone more often, and then it'll let me actually stay more immersed. Actually, that's a positive. What's my point for mentioning this? Right. So yeah, and so because I was doing that, and I was always doing that while I played games, especially, I always commentate. So it's like, and when I watch shows, especially like basketball games, I live commentate. Like, I'm a color commentator practically. So being fuck it, no, I'm definitely a color commentator. Yeah, play-by-play / color, but mainly color commentator. It's the type of mind I am when I watch basketball, because it's the only sport I watch, care about. But yeah, so that's when I was like, yeah, so this makes even more sense for me to be able to do gaming content, be a conscient, unconscious creator, content creator, because of that very reason. Also, I say almost as much as Obama now, don't I? Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's my filler word when I'm thinking. Uh, so yeah. Oh man, word whiskers. So it's just really cool that it happened on the same day, because those are two huge steps, two huge changes, two huge risks or dives into something you've never done before. And I think it's really cool that it happened on the same day, and it's kind of poetic, especially spiritually. So it's really cool to be able to know that I had my second day of EMDR therapy on the exact same day that I celebrate the 9th year of the criminal violin. Oh yeah, and also I've actually been asked this more in person than not, actually, how in the hell I came up with the criminal violin. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before. I'm pretty sure I have offhand in random videos, but never, I don't think, in one of these kind of stream / videos. I came up with the name TheCriminalViolin at complete random. That was also entirely improv. It just, my brain just vomited it out. Like, it was just one of those random things. Just there it was in my head. I'm like, I like that, and so I stuck with it. I just went with it. I just said, I'm gonna call myself TheCriminalViolin because it sounds cool, and it's unique. And the acronym is TCV, which is relatively unique as well as an acronym. So I thought, even branding wise, it's kind of smart. It doesn't reference anything to do with gaming or commentary or really any form, specific form of content. It just is what it is. So yeah, it's not an exciting story, I suppose, because a lot of people are like, I guess they assume like, you had to have, had an idea, right? You had to have like really thought about it. It's like, nah, it's just one of the things that randomly entered my mind. Like when I thought about names, I have a notepad with TheCriminalViolin on it, along with a bunch of other names, because it was just whatever the fuck my brain shat out of its orifice. And that's how improv is. It's just basically brain diarrhea. It just fucking undo the dikes, remove the dam, and let the shit flow. That's true improv. You have no restrictions, no boundaries, no limits, anything. You just let your imagination go. You don't even really necessarily try to think yourself or interject. It's just once you think, you're thinking just to remove those dams, those dikes, those prevention, those barriers, and you just start letting it flow. And then once you let it flow, you remove yourself, and whatever happens, happens. And whatever you say, you say, or whatever you write, or whatever the fuck it is. And in this case, that's how this came to be. And I still love that name. I really do. Like, it has nothing to do with branding. In terms of like, what kind of content is TheCriminalViolin? What kind of name is that? Like, what do you do? Maybe not be as smart as branding, but hey, sounds cool. So that's all that matters to me. But anyway, so that's that. And I'm done chatting. So instead of being professional, because fuck that, go fuck yourselves. No. Nah. If you want to, I guess you could. That's definitely can be a very exhilarating activity. Nah, it's your choice. If you want to go punch an infant in the face or smear a sandwich on a random bystander's car or stab a granny with a stick, I mean, it's honestly your choice. If you'd rather do that than clicking all the things so you don't get imprisoned into the gulags. Okay, see you later. Have a great day or night wherever you